Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. So I'm going to jump right into this one for you. I've got a very tapered log. It's about 17 feet long. And I'm going to work this tapered log down to get 5 2x8s out of it. They're going to measure 1 5/8 by 7 1/4. That was the customer's requirement. And one of the things I'm going to talk about during this video is how to mill to the last board so that the last board is the same thickness as all of the other boards. I see this question a lot on forums and social media, and I thought I would kind of talk about it a little bit today. So the first thing you got to do when you get a log up on the deck and you get it positioned, I go down to the center, check the center height of the log, come back, drop an inch, 1.5 inches, and away I go. What I'm looking for here is I am looking for a CANT that is 8 5/8 in height by 7 1/4 wide. So that's going to be a real trick with a log that's only 9 1/4 inches in diameter. It's a bit of an egg-shaped log, and you can see as I roll this up 90 and drive it into the side supports, it's actually kind of egg-shaped and it's a little taller this way. So I'm going to be able to get more out of it than say just a standard 9 or 9 1/4 inch diameter small end log. So I get it up to the side supports, get it clamped up nice and solid. I trust my side supports. I know they're 90 degrees to the deck, so if I'm flat on them, I'm going to have a flat cut. You'll notice the toe board is still up. I raised it for the first one, lowered it a little bit, got it centered, left it up for my next cut. That way I know the pith is still going to be relatively centered down the log. I make that cut, and you'll notice it wasn't much of a cut on the near end, but on the far end it was over 2 inches thick. And you could see that weight just driving that cap cut down like that. That's okay, we get it out of the way. Now, drop the toe board. We're going to roll it 90 degrees. When a log is loaded like this one and it's kind of too far down on the far end, you can swing the bunk out. That tends to help so the log doesn't try to drop too much. But as you can see, in this case, it still didn't want to roll. So that's okay. We're going to fix that problem. First, I'm going to try to use the log clamp, kind of push it over a little bit, then see if I can roll it with the log turner. Sometimes you can get the log clamp to help you do that. In this case, it just didn't want to turn, so I grabbed my log right Sawmill special CANT hook. You gotta love those things. I think that one's awesome. Had it forever. Come over and just roll it by hand. I didn't roll it all the way. I rolled it far enough that I could kick it over with the log clamp. Maybe I was being lazy. All right, so we got it rolled. We've got two good perpendicular faces, nice 90-degree opening, which is what I always want. Clamp it up, and I clamp it at the middle of the log, trying to make sure I don't push the log up or down, because sometimes if your log clamp's a little low, you can actually push it up, so you don't want to do that. Check the center height, come back. In this case, I dropped about 1 inch because I'm really working with a very small end on this log. Big taper, you can see I'm taking out firewood on the end here, 2 inches, it's crazy. And that's why they flip up like that. All that weight just drives that far end down, and they kind of get in the way. That's okay. So we get that one done. I got 3 faces now. Basically, I got a D log, right? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to flip that up. I'm working on my 4th face. Now, if you've watched my channel in the past, you know that usually on my 3rd face, I'm starting to think about where I want either my height or my width of my CANT. In this case, because I'm working with something barely over 9 inches in one direction and maybe 10 in the other, I know that I'm going to have to try to sneak out as much as I can. That big taper on the far end kind of gets in the way. And speaking of getting in the way, cut the branches flush to the bark. It stopped the head solid right there. I had to shut her down, back her up, move the debarker out of the way, and then head on back down the log. Again, you can see that's a pretty deep cut on the far end. Almost nothing on the near end, and yet pretty deep on the far end. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take a flitch cut out. That's pretty thin for a flitch cut. I could have taken 1 inch out here, but because I'm really trying to sneak out as much as I can out of this log, I went ahead and just skimmed it just enough to get me down so I could take a 1 inch flitch out, which will remove a fair bit of that wane on the near side. So I'll kick that off onto the forks and we'll mill that down later. That's the only flitch I'm going to get out of this log. I could have got 2, but again, I'm really trying to work with it, trying to sneak out as much as I can. So I'm being really conservative on my flitch cuts here. So now we roll it 180 degrees. And of course I got some bark under it. Gotta love toe board rollers, right? Just lift it up, get the bark out, clean the bunks off, drop her down, and you'll notice that I pushed the CANT down a little closer to me. That's the beauty of those roller toe boards. Now I come in and I take another thin cutout. I flipped it 90 degrees. Now, since my width is 7 1/4, I know that I have the width that I want. All I've got to do now is take enough of a flitch cut out to remove a little more of that wane and to get me to my desired height that I'm using. And again, I'll throw up my spreadsheet diagram here that shows you what I'm working with. So I want to go to 8 5/8. That way I can take out the 1 5/8 lumber that I'm making plus the kerf. And each time I do that, it's going to drive me down to the deck so that my final cut actually going to leave me a 1 5/8 board. Not thicker, not thinner, same size. Notice I boxed the heart out there on that third one. That's something I'm always trying to do, but on the far end, you can see that that pith is awfully close to my cut. That's because the pith was not straight. All right, get those 3 off. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna flip the CANT over. You can see all that wane. And I'm just doing that so that I've got really good clamping surface for the log clamp. I wanna make sure I can bring it down below 1 inch just to be safe. Go ahead, throw the flitch up, mill the flitch down. Once the flitch is milled down, then all I got to do, get the flitches off the deck, reclamp the log, split it right down the middle, and I've got 2 5/8, 2x8s in the end. So that's really all there is to it. You just got to plan so that when you start milling to your height, that your height is going to leave you a specific number of boards. For example, in this case, 5 2x8s, so that when I'm done, all 5 2x8s are off the deck. There's nothing left. The log is gone and I'm ready to start the next one. All right, that's it for today, folks. Thanks for watching. I'm going to drop a video right here. If you like this one, check this other one out. Y'all have a great day. The Old Jarhead out.